Hi, I'm Yepwin, and this is a video I've been meaning to do for a while, and just haven't gotten around to quite yet. But I wanted to give my 2 cents on the whole Gamergate thing that's been going on. So, anybody who doesn't know what it is, there's some other stuff involved. There was some talk of someone paying off some specific person on a website or ex-girlfriends or things. But the main bit that I want to talk about is that there's now this idea for some reason that the gaming community as a whole should be completely and utterly distrustful of major gaming websites or even little ones. And one of the main reasons for that is that they believe that developers are paying off game websites and content creators to say good things about their product. And I do believe some of that's been going on. We saw a little bit of it with Yogscast. We've heard some things most recently that the Shadows of Mordor game was maybe not going out to reviewers properly, and there were some things with like paid promos and stuff. And I feel like a lot of this is getting blown out of proportion in a really weird way. And I kind of just wanted to give my opinion, and maybe a more moderate opinion than some people, because this all seems a bit weird to me. Alright, so basically, there's only one type of person who should be worried about being paid off, and that is a reviewer. Alright, I don't do game reviews, something I might do in the future, but right now I don't do game reviews. So if a developer came to me, as unlikely as that would be with my 100 subscribers, if a developer came to me and said, hey, yep, when we have this game coming out, we want to give you, $500 and the game and do a video on it, I would probably say yes. And I would want to tell you that I'd gotten paid to do the video, but if the developer asked me not to say anything, that would raise some red flags for me, because that's probably not on the up and up if they don't want to actually admit to having paid someone. But at the same time, that wouldn't be like it. Personally, I wouldn't feel right not telling people that I was getting paid to do a video, but I'm also not doing reviews, so getting paid it doesn't do much. I don't review games. You don't look to me to go, is this game good or not? You want to see gameplay. So reviewers are the only ones we should be worried about being paid off for the first bit. And I've heard some other things like this Shadows of Mordor stuff wasn't really being paid off to reviewers. It was being given and maybe some paid promos to content creators who don't do reviews. I think the problem with that one was the reviewers were not necessarily getting the review codes in a timely fashion, which made the reviews harder to do. But overall, I think that one might be getting blown a little bit weird. I think I believe it was Forbes, did an article on it, and they don't understand games. They just heard the word money, and they're like, we should write an article about this, and now it's getting kind of weirded out. But as far as the review thing goes, here's my idea with reviews and paying people to do reviews. It's not wrong. And that seems to be an opinion that's not voiced very much, so let me explain. All reviews are subjective opinions. Alright, there are one or two things you can talk about objectively, like, does the game run? Does the game, chug? Does it have terrible, terrible frame rates? And even that's a little subjective. Alright, because some person might say that 30 FPS is terrible, 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 and another person doesn't care as much. They're like, yeah, it runs fine. So, it's a completely subjective thing to do reviews, and people have this idea that there's some sort of objective review, that there is objectively the perfect game, and that once it comes out, every reviewer in the world is going to agree that it's the best game ever. And that's never going to happen, because games are an art, and with all art forms, there's going to be a difference of opinion on these things. So, as far as reviewers go, you just have to look for a reviewer who, firstly, shares similar opinions to yours. Look at the stuff that they've liked before, and if it gels up with the stuff you've liked, you might have similar tastes, and then you can take their opinion, kind of like a friend. If you have a friend who loves first-person shooters and you hate first-person shooters, that might not be the best person to ask about the new first-person shooter game. Alright? If you're considering buying it, if you're like, I hate first-person shooters, should I buy this game? And you ask your friend who loves them, and he says that it's great, you're not going to trust his opinion. And that's the same thing you get with reviewers. It's the same kind of opinion you should have. So when reviewers are being paid, when you're paying off a reviewer, it's really just part of what's coloring their opinion. No, they should be honest about it. They should definitely be honest about it. But it's no worse than disliking something for other personal reasons. I think the problem is reviewers need to be completely honest with all the things that color their opinion of things. And there are a few who do. Okay, I know I like Movie Bob on the Escapist for his movie reviews because he's very open about things that color his opinion, and Total Biscuit for games because he's very open about things that color his opinion. But being paid off is just one of those things. You just need to tell people. Then the example I thought of would be like if a movie reviewer happened to be in an elevator with Harrison Ford, let's say young Harrison Ford, and for whatever reason young Harrison Ford slapped him in the face out of nowhere, that reviewer might be inclined to dislike the Star Wars movies. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, seeing Harrison Ford in something now brings up bad memories of being slapped in the face. So that reviewer dislikes things that he's in. And that's valid as an opinion. It just needs to be given when they're giving reviews on something that he's worked on. They can say, like, oh, this guy once slapped me in the face, so I'm inclined to dislike his movies. And that's all they need to say. That's being honest about what's coloring their personal opinion of things. And that's what you need to do, even when you're getting paid by developers. You get the game, you say, this developer gave me this game and $50 and said review it. So maybe that $50 in a free game is influencing my opinion. Now, reviewers get free games all the time, so free games are not as much to worry about as the getting paid off. That's something that's also confusing people. Is to normal people like us, getting free games sounds really, really awesome. To reviewers, they get so many free games they don't know what to do with them. All right, so the free game is just how the industry works. It's the same with movies. The reviewers get to go to pre-release screenings and all this special stuff because they're reviewers. It doesn't color their opinion. It's just part of the job. But in my personal opinion, this is my opinion, and no one's paying me off for this opinion, to be honest about it, that I just feel like everyone's overreacting a little. The only time you should be upset about this is if they're not telling you you're being paid, and that's just something sort of different. That's not standard business practice. That's something kind of sketchy, and it's something, yes, people shouldn't be taking that deal ethically, probably. It's kind of up in the air, though, who's really at fault, because the developers shouldn't be giving those deals. I blame the developers a lot more than I do the reviewers. Because, if I was doing game reviews, right now, I'm not really making any money off YouTube. It's kind of a hobby. I'm trying to break into it as a more serious thing, but I'm not making any money off of it. So if a reviewer came to me and offered me money, if a game developer came to me and offered me money to do a review, I'd be kind of inclined to think about it. And that is just taking advantage of people. And that's something that the developer shouldn't be doing. The developers are the larger companies. The developers are the ones who need to be blamed for this, not the reviewers. And there's also this idea that this seems like this is everywhere. You can't trust anyone. And I don't think that's true. Like a lot of indie games and stuff don't have the budget to pay people off, so I don't think they're doing it as much as people seem to think. And I think the AAA people are paying people off a little bit, but that I don't think it's everywhere. I don't think it's every person on the internet is being paid off by this developer. Maybe a couple of big sites, but if you're getting your reviews from lots of different sources like you should be, then it's going to even out. Like the couple people who got paid off may be giving it a glowing review, but if everyone else hates it, then there's something weird, and you should be getting your reviews from different sources anyway. Because, like I said, they're all opinions, so if one person hates it, maybe look at why they hate it or why they love it, and look around, look at lots of different things. Listen to the descriptions of the game and the gameplay and figure out if it's something that you want to do. I think we've gotten to this weird place with reviews where people just go to sites and just look at the list and this is 8 out of 10 and 5 out of 10 and 3 out of 10, and you just look at the number and go, this must be a good game, instead of actually thinking about whether it's a game you personally would enjoy. I just think that this is more a problem with where our review space has gotten to than we can't trust people in the games journalism industry anymore. And and I don't know, just be a little more moderate about these things. Getting paid off is it's something that happens in all industries. It's something that everyone has to worry about, and it's really large corporate structures just trying to take advantage of people. It's not a corruption of games journalism. It's not that we can't trust people on the internet anymore. If you ever could trust people on the internet, yeah. But it's much more a problem with the developers taking advantage of people than it is like reviewers taking bribes and things. And don't blow it so out of proportion. That's really all I'm saying. Is this is getting blown to a huge amount out of proportion, and I don't understand why. Like, there's nothing wrong with what most people are doing. As long as you're transparent about what's happening in your life as a reviewer. I mean, be transparent about what's happening in your life, even if you're going through a bad breakup or something. That might make you hate movies or hate games or love them more or something. Reviewers need to be fairly transparent about what's going on in their life and what's coloring their opinion. And that's really the only thing we should be taking away from this is trust reviewers who give you more information about what's coloring their opinion of things. Don't mistrust everyone because you think they're getting paid off, because in the end, getting paid off just colors your opinion of something no different than getting slapped in the face by the creator does. Alright, that's really the takeaway I wanted to give everyone. I hope you've enjoyed. I'm messing with some new formats. This is the first new opinion piece I'm doing, so let me know if you like it, if you're a long-time subscriber. Yell at me in the comments if you hate it and you're not. You know, either way, I'm Gepwin. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day. I'd be very interested to hear your thoughts. I will answer comments if you want. I'm going to do a thing where I am going to do a slightly moderated comment section, to be honest about things. I've seen it work. Inflammatory, just out there hate-filled stuff never really fosters a good discussion. So I'm going to be moderating my comment section a little bit just because I've seen it work. It does foster better discussions. Okay, just be aware of that. But only really, non-constructive stuff that's just a bunch of hate speech if I get that. I haven't been subject to it as much personally, but it does happen. So just something I wanted everyone to be aware of. Anyway, thanks so much for watching this. I'm Gepwin. I'll see you soon.